are some of the ways that RP data can currently help people grow their businesses?
Yeah, really great question. And I wish it was one that I asked many years ago, Kylie. And I think that having come into CoreLogic world, as I mentioned before, I didn't realize how many great tools and solutions we have available. More importantly, within that flagship product of ours, RP data. I think just let alone reporting that's available to really allow us to prospect as BDMs. And I'd like to start there if that's okay. So
Yeah,
I think
amazing.
yeah, it's a really, I think for also for principals who I also understand are running high performing sales teams, but remembering that as a part of them having a real estate business, they need to also inject some of that same energy within their property management department. More importantly, really consider having a growth specialist to do that. And one of the key things that I identified inside of RP data was that the way in which our sales agents are actually utilizing some of the reporting, and some of those reportings are our tenure report. And for those listening today, what that actually means is that average time span of owners owning their properties. And so this report allows you to actually do, and salespeople use this really well. And so why don't we use it well in property management? It was because we've never really taken the time to learn what is inside of the tool and how can we use it. But here's one tip for you. That report is going to allow you to see the average time span of ownership in that particular suburb. And it's going to give you a bracket. Let's say it's 7 to 10 years. It then shows you all of those owners that are still holding on to their homes for that period of time. So if we're talking 7 years, where they bought it 7 years prior. That then allows you to start to think that potentially their mindset as a homeowner is in the phase of considering, should we be selling? Should we be buying another property? What do we want to do? So they're starting to think about the real estate world again. And that's a perfect opportunity for us to be reaching out and prospecting and hunting. And we could be doing that, of course, in so many ways. And sales agents do it through their CRM, nurturing their contacts via letters and EDMs, mailbox drop, and of course, social media, right? That's become the new hot topic in how we prospect. So let's look at what the high performing sales agents do really well and just reverse that language we're using in our marketing and make it about, have you thought about turning your home into an investment property and potentially buying another, right? That report, and let alone, is going to let at least start allowing you to prospect into new areas and find new contacts that you haven't been able to chat to before.
Fantastic. That is a great tip. And you're absolutely right. Our sales team uses that, but I've actually never used that report myself inside RP data. So, what about some other tools that can assist BDMs, business owners, in terms of specifically targeting that investor, those investor clients?
Yeah, within some of our other reporting as well, we do have our aged and withdrawn listing reports. And so, whilst that showcases to us what properties have been on the market, that's been on for a long time for sales, of course, withdrawn means that they were on the market, but we haven't seen activity in a period of time, and therefore they've been withdrawn from market. Again, that allows us to open up those different conversations. More importantly, within all of our listing data information, so that property data information, it actually will show you whether or not it's a homeowner that lives in the property or whether or not there's somebody else who's actually residing. So it'll actually give you that occupancy status, which I think is great. More importantly, it allows you to potentially market to those people either directly or indirectly. And of course, with the new privacy laws coming in, we as well need to ensure that our platform is compliant, but more importantly, those using it also are following those directions. So everything, you will always see disclaimers and information around how you can utilize the data that you see in front of you within the platform. And what I mean by that is whether or not we're able to mail out and say, hey, Kylie, and use your name, or whether or not we just have to say homeowner, or whether or not we cannot use it at all. So it actually, our platform ensures that you remain compliant, in how you're utilizing the data that you're also seeing as well. So just another tip there that I think that some agencies sometimes aren't aware of, and maybe why an owner's details aren't showing, or maybe that occupancy status isn't showing either, is because now those owners or people can request their information to be undisclosed.
Okay. So yeah, that does throw a bit of a spanner in the works. But I guess that also means that we have to get a little bit more creative on and put a little bit more effort into how we are gathering that data. I just want to go back a step though, talking about that
Mhm.
withdrawn data. One of the
Yes.
ways that I like to use the data in RP data in my own business is I like to build out suburbs and work out which properties are actually investment properties in that suburb. So then I have a really good understanding of which suburbs are more higher rented properties or whether there's homeowner occupiers. If I was going to do a mail out, I would be then obviously targeting those suburbs where there's a high percentage of I wouldn't be doing mail outs actually. I would be using that data to build out my own list of investors in suburbs and then obviously be looking to find ways to reach out and connect with them through various. So yeah, that's I think a really good way to really understand your market as well. And then obviously you can go deeper and work out making sure that you know all the rental prices in those suburbs and stuff because data really doesn't lie, does it?
No, it doesn't. And another great area is our insights and statistics page. And so when we are doing those suburb reports, so whether you're doing it from tenure withdrawn age, like looking at it that perspective, or whether or not you're saying, I now would like to utilize the data that we already hold within our CRM, and I'd love to dive into that a little further as well. But it's doing the suburb report, we have one that also gives all of those insights. So it actually talks about the demographics. It talks about the types of people that are renting and or residing. It then splits it up to let you know that there's this many homeowner occupiers or this many kind of investment properties within that suburb. So it starts to allow you to look at planning and how am I going to prospect? What suburbs should I be focusing on and why would they be attractive? And then that allows you to just be so much more confident in presenting to a new prospect that you're very well equipped. You are on the suburb. You understand why a renter would want to move into that area. And in particular as well, I do get it. And I'm sure we're still facing that where we do have some rental providers who are not maybe wanting pets or children or only couples and they're wanting to form or who should be really renting my home. I think this report really allows you to become that trusted advisor and provide them the insight, what's happening in that market, not just what's happening in Brisbane or what's happening in Sydney, what is actually happening right there in the suburb and on the street where that investment property is. So not only does it allow you to review the data, it actually really helps you have more meaningful, confident conversation.
And that builds up your expertise, doesn't it? That's all part of and if you're in one of the states that's got a little bit stricter with those privacy laws, that's amazing data that you can then share on your social media or through your generic mail outs or whatever way you want to market it. It's not just getting that one-on-one contact information. It's also, yeah, understanding what the data is actually telling you on a larger scale. But I also like your tip there as well about honing in on suburbs as well and getting hyper specific on certain areas that have a large percentage of investor properties in those areas. That's amazing. Thank you for that little insight as well. And you mentioned something that you wanted to dive into a little bit more on as well. And what was that? It's just
Yeah. So just with data, Kylie, as well, I wouldn't mind touching on briefly that we have a lot, obviously CoreLogic holds a lot of data and you can use our tools to understand the data, become that trusted advisor and really have meaningful conversations and I guess own that landscape, right? Be that specialist in that suburb, so to speak. But I think what sometimes we forget is that we also have our own first party data as an agency. So as a property management business, you're running a trust account CRM tool and your sales agents are also running their sales CRM. Sometimes the data is in both. And I think what's really valuable here is that you can look at that insights and that market intel that we're providing in a tool. And you can then look at, well, how and strategize and plan. How do I utilize this to now nurture and market to my existing contacts, people that have gone through sales open homes? If we're talking about just businesses in general wanting to grow, what we've certainly heard in 2024 is we need more listings. Where can we find those leads to get more listings? And we want to be in front of more people. And that should be the same mentality, not just in sales, but in property management, right? We're there to build relationships and rapport, but we're also there to grow and meet new people. And we can absolutely do that within property management by utilizing the data inside of our sales CRM and think, okay, there's this many people in this suburb that are recorded within the sales CRM that our agency has been connecting with, sales agents, but none of the communication has actually touched on anything relating to property management and rental and market insights in that regard, right? So use the tools inside of CoreLogic, use those statistic reports for the suburbs, use all of that information around the research that we've got available, and start to use your first party data and nurture those contacts and turn some of those into new prospects for you within the property management department as well.
That is amazing. I love that. I had not thought of that one either. And the RP data does connect with a lot of CRMs as well, doesn't it? So if you had somebody through your open home, and just correct me if I'm wrong here, but you have somebody through your open home, and you put them into your database, you can somehow connect that through into RP data, or they can pull through the data from that particular person. Is that how it works? I just cannot remember off the top of my head. If you're ready to be a super organised, focused and productive property manager, buckle up, because Colmio is about to revolutionise the way that you work. Colmio is the driving force behind property management excellence in residential real estate. Now picture this, a comprehensive end-to-end system designed to be the beating heart of your property management tasks, manage your properties, owners and tenants, and handle payments, inspections, and even marketing listings without leaving the platform. Colmio is designed to be an all-in-one solution to all your property management needs. And here's the game changer. Colmio isn't just software. It's been awarded the most innovative prop tech scale up in 2023. Yes, you heard it right. Colmio has been recognised for their groundbreaking approach to property management software. How good is that? So property managers, whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, dive into the future of property management with Colmio. You can book in a demo with the team today and go in their weekly draw for a Prezi gift card worth $100. All you need to do is to head to the link colmio.com/thatpropertymum, and Colmio is KOLMEO. Yeah, no, that's fine. We do have a feature that's available that we call RP Inside, which is exactly what you're talking about. It is additional to the standard subscription, but yet you are correct. There are some integrations in what does pull through with some of the CRMs. What it won't pull through is that data information, and that's just legally we're unable to provide that as a push through. But your attributes of your properties, lot plan numbers, those types of things, it absolutely can. So there's that component, but then you can take it one step further and you could consider what we call an RP Inside integration, which is going to feed through and call a lot more of the data, making sure that your CRM is up to date with the most information. There's also another feature of that is called an ownership verification. So while we don't pull across the owner's exact name, if in your record it does show that it is correct, we'll do what we call a verification green tick within your CRM so that you actually do know that the person who is against that record in your CRM is in fact the actual property owner. So there's some other options available that you can add on to your RP data subscription. That is amazing. And what about the appraisal reporting platforms that you've got built in, the proposals? that you've now got
Mhm.
built into them. They're beautifully designed, super easy, and I guess for a sales would be using them, but I guess for property management as well, sending something like that is also trackable. You can see where people have opened up and clicked on the different pages. That's really powerful for property managers or BDMs to use as well, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we've called it RP Proposal. It is, you can have it as a part of a subscription within your RP data, and you can customize that. There's multiple templates available for you. You can have it look in your brand and feel, and you have all of your marketing in there. You have it on About Us. Instead of sending what would typically be a PDF of all of these great things that we want to share about our services and our fee structure, instead of it being a PDF that we would normally do with an email, you can send it as an interactive digital proposal. We do have property management templates. I've made sure that we have those within our platform. We've got them, I guess, on a pre-list where you're wanting to share a bit about, hey, this is who I am. This is who the business is. Looking forward to seeing you in the next few days to present our services. So like a teaser, and sales agents do that all of the time. And then you've got your full proposal, which is allowing them, you can send it before, you can send it after. But to your point, yes, we have what we call heat mapping. It can come across a little bit stalkerish when you're looking at it yourself, but it is fantastic. Not only do you get the notifications of when they've opened it and what they've looked at, but through this heat mapping, you can interactively actually see on a video replay where they've scrolled to, where they've stopped on. So what is then really important to them? So as that rental provider, new prospect for you, they might have gone all the way through your proposal straight to the bottom to the fee page. And I'm sure that most of them probably do that first, and
I
then
was
they
thinking
scroll
that.
down.
Yep.
Yeah, going straight to the fees. What that just supports you in is then knowing, how do you direct your conversation? You then know their mindset is they are fee driven as opposed to service driven. So you just then know when you're having that next conversation is that it doesn't need to be, hey, I know you stopped there, but it can certainly be is that I appreciate that as a part of your decision making process. You want to make sure that you're getting the right fees for the service level that you expect, right? So there's just a better way that you could then spin your pitch so that the rental provider's like, oh, wow, they actually understand me without them having needed to explain that fees are important to them. So I think it's a really powerful tool, again, just to help you guide your conversation.
I absolutely think you're 100% correct. I have used it and I've combined it with some of the strategies that you mentioned earlier, reaching out to, say, listings that have been expired, listings that have been over 60 days, reaching out to them and saying, here's my proposal if you were considering to put your property on the rental market. And yeah, and I think that the proposal is great to tie in with a lot of the other tools and strategies that you've just mentioned in this podcast episode. What about and of course, maybe even just talking like maybe even just run us through. There might be some people who haven't actually got ARPI data. Maybe just talk us through the different levels and structures of the different packages that you've got, if that's something that you can share with us.
Sure, absolutely. We have a very light package, which personally I don't feel it's suitable for the real estate industry and for agents. It's definitely more of that investor style package, or the mum and dads who are wanting to do a bit of research for themselves. It's something you can have at a lower scale. We then move into our base subscription, which is not going to give you some of those prospecting elements. It's not going to give you a lot of the reporting. However, it will give you some basic searching filters and, of course, your CMA. We then move into the premium level, which I think definitely is the standard of what we do find the industry sits the most. And that opens up that prospecting module. It allows you to have that direct marketing contact section as well. It also allows you to have a feature, what we call agency benchmarking reporting, which is included in and emailed to you as well. It's one suburb, so you could choose your core suburb, but you get that included. And that then rates how your agency is going versus the other agencies within your area. So just a measurement and success tool that we add in as an additional feature. And then you get up to our top tier, which includes the proposals. I one of our brand new property management report, which is called our investment report. It is tailored for you to be able to provide to those specifically who have investment properties because of the data that's contained within is things like, yes, how long they've owned the property for. It also indicates to them their potential capital gain estimation. It also looks at approximate estimated equity as well. What we've found with this
Wow.
report, so you've got your standard AVMs in there as well, like where we think it sits from both a rental and a sales perspective. It's also got some cash flow scoring. So is it indicating that maybe what you're achieving from a rental income versus maybe an assumption based on our algorithms and data, standard loan rates and all of those things? Because I think the disclaimer here, Kylie, if I may, is that we don't know at CoreLogic how everyone's loan is built and what they're paying and all of those things, right? So some of these things may be slightly not correct, but what it does again is it gives your existing clients, more importantly, any prospects, a lot more information. So if they're on the fence, I don't know if I want to sell, I don't know if this is the right decision, what do you think I should do? This report can really help you with that, especially around that estimated equity. And I think the way that I've spoken to businesses about this report is use it as an annual performance review or property review with your client. Send them a meeting invite and say, I really would love to talk to you about how your property has performed. More importantly, to gauge and obtain your feedback on how you think we've done in managing your property for you in the last 12 months. Utilizing this data and talking about the tenancy has been great. We've obviously seen your rent increase by this amount. This is what's going on in the market. We've got some potential equity here. What are your plans? And that's so much more of a positive conversation for us to be having in what property management can sometimes be a negative, challenging day and world in the conversations we need to have. Another great piece of that conversation, I think, is for those where we've got some rundown homes or we've got some owners who absolutely there's a housing and accommodation crisis. It's not a renter crisis. I think it's more of a housing affordability crisis where we're finding that maybe people can't afford where the rents have gone to across many areas. And also as a part of that, what we've obviously seen as well is even though rents have increased, of course, investor loans and their mortgages have also increased. And that gap hasn't been bridged yet, right? And of course, there would also still be rental providers who are struggling. This report, by showing that they've got some equity, I think it's a great conversation if you're trying to get them to do some work on their home, is by saying, hey, did you know this? This is an option for you. Let's draw out what the property is earning. Let's get some equity out. Let's refinance. Let's get you in touch with a broker or financial planner and let's draw that money out and let's use that instead of your own cash. And again, just another powerful, meaningful conversation instead of it being, we need to replace a hot water system and it's $2,500 and it becomes this challenging, conflicting email, phone conversation backwards and forwards because the owner can't afford to do it, but they know they need to do it. And it just then becomes a stress pot and it's not nice for everyone. So flip it around its head and use this data and use these types of reports to really help you achieve the outcome, not just for you, but for your rental provider as well.
Can I ask you a quick favour before you leave this episode? Now, we all know how important reviews are for businesses these days, and mine is no different. If you could spare just a minute to follow, rate and review this podcast, it would mean a lot to me. In fact, what would get me super excited is if you share this podcast with someone in the industry who you think might need to hear some of the episodes right now. And if you'd like to find out more about working with me or any of the products I have to help you start, grow or scale your property management business, head to my website, thatpropertymum.com.au, or check out the links in the show notes.
brand new property management reports, which is called our investment report. It is tailored for you to be able to provide to those specifically who have investment properties, because of the data that's contained within is things like, yes, how long they've owned the property for. It also indicates to them their potential capital gain estimation. It also looks at approximate estimated equity as well. So what we've found with this
Wow.
report, so you've got your standard AVMs in there as well, like where we think it kind of sits from both a rental and a sales perspective. It's also got some cash flow scoring. So is it indicating that maybe what you're achieving from a rental income versus maybe an assumption based on our algorithms and data, standard loan rates and all of those things? Because I think the disclaimer here, Kylie, if I may, is that we don't know at CoreLogic how everyone's loan is built and what they're paying and all of those things, right? So some of these things may be slightly not correct, but what it does, again, it gives your existing clients, more importantly, any prospects, a lot more information. So if they're on the fence, I don't know if I want to sell, I don't know if this is the right decision, what do you think I should do? This report can really help you with that, especially around that estimated equity. And I think the way that I've spoken to businesses about this report is use it as an annual performance review or property review with your clients. So send them a meeting invite and say, I really would love to talk to you about how your property has performed. More importantly, to gauge and obtain your feedback on how you think we've done in managing your property for you in the last 12 months. Utilizing this data and talking about the tenancy has been great. We've obviously seen your rent increase by this amount. This is what's going on in the market. We've got some potential equity here. What are your plans? Right. And that's so much more of a positive conversation for us to be having in what property management can sometimes be a negative, challenging day and world in the conversations we need to have. Another great piece of that conversation, I think, is for those where we've got some rundown homes or we've got some owners who absolutely there's a housing and accommodation crisis. It's not a renter crisis. I think it's more of a housing affordability crisis where we're finding that maybe people can't afford where the rents have gone to across many areas. And also as a part of that, what we've obviously seen as well is even though rents have increased, of course, investor loans and their mortgages have also increased. And that gap hasn't been bridged yet, right? And so, of course, there would also still be rental providers who are struggling. This report, by showing them they've got some equity, I think it's a great conversation if you're trying to get them to do some work on their home, is by saying, hey, did you know this? This is an option for you. Let's draw out what the property is earning. Let's get some equity out. Let's refinance. Let's get you in touch with a broker or financial planner and let's draw that money out and let's use that instead of your own cash. And again, just another powerful, meaningful conversation instead of it being, we need to replace a hot water system and it's $2,500 and it becomes this challenging, conflicting email, phone conversation backwards and forwards because the owner can't afford to do it, but they know they need to do it. And it just then becomes a stress kind of pot, I suppose. And it's not nice for everyone. So flip it around its head and use this data and use these types of reports to really help you achieve the outcome, not just for you, but for your rental provider as well.
That is absolutely gold value that you have just added there. Tell me, what was that report called again?
It's called the Property Investment Report. So it is available within our Premium and Pro subscription. Within Pro, it's available for you to do individual reporting. So you could search an address, you just type in the current rent and the lease dates, and the report populates for you. If you're on our Premium subscription, it's available for you to purchase in bulk, and we support you with that. We ask through a secure file survey, you share those addresses and that information, and we populate those reports for you and send them back to you.
Amazing. That I am definitely going to dive into. And I have been doing for the last couple of years annual investor reviews. And I really wish I knew that was available instead of doing all the research myself and working it all out myself. So that's absolutely amazing. And I am definitely going to be looking into that report. in the new year. And I think for anyone that has felt stagnant this year with their growth, I think something like the data again doesn't lie. Diving into prospecting, using the data, building up your expertise is a great way to start the new year with some positive momentum towards their growth goals, because without that momentum, nothing really happens off it, does it? And you've been in the industry long enough. You've got to start somewhere, and you've got to start with some sort of a strategy and to get the wheels rolling for when it comes to growing your rent roll, especially.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. And when I talk to business owners and property managers within the industry, and I say to them, what's CoreLogic? What do we do? What do we have? And of course, we're very well known and for RP data. And I say, well, fantastic. How do you use RP data? And they say, I just do a CMA. Okay, fantastic. It's important that we obviously do those, but we've got all of these great tools and resources just actually within that platform itself that can absolutely will allow you the opportunity as a team and a business to plan. And I think it's really important as well within that planning for the new year is to bring everyone in. Property managers should understand, what's the sales team doing? What are their goals? What are their objectives? What are they aiming to achieve? Is it 5 listings a month? Is it 10? What does that look like? And how do we work together in that? More importantly, how can the sales team be supporting property management side of it? What are some of those things that we can be doing and utilizing some of those sales contacts to be prospecting? So sitting down and just really looking at what tools you have in front of you. What do you know about them? How do I know how to use them? What is in there that is going to benefit me and allow me to grow my business, grow my skill set, and become more experienced and have more expertise? I think is a great way for everyone to start next year. And I think it's, if we can do that more and have that as a reset, because we get so used to using Zapnik and we just know what to use it for, because we only want to go into RP data to do a CMA, but let's dive in and actually see what other benefits else are within that tool that our businesses and our principals are paying for that we can absolutely get more out of.
I'm already thinking there's a webinar in the new year with you, Kasey, or somebody from your team, where we can actually sit down and go through and do a demonstration on all the different bits and pieces, because I speak to lots of people who, exactly like you said, only use it for the CMA. So yeah, anyway, we'll lock that in the new year. Just before I let you off, I just want to see if you could share some personal development with our audience, a book, a podcast, something that's really helped you in your career and your journey.
Yeah, I think when I first started, like probably many of us listening today, got a desk and a computer and a phone and said, away you go. And there was no training. And so a lot of what I've learned today or continue to learn today is obviously the fact that you've got to invest in yourself if you want to make this a career. And I'd like to share that I think the mindset of the industry should be that property management is absolutely a career and you can take multiple paths with it. And I think I'm certainly one of those people like yourself, Kylie, that it opens up a lot of opportunities and doors in many other industries as well because of what we do within those tasks on a daily basis. So from a personal development perspective, I think take the time, and especially coming into the end of the year or starting fresh in the new year, is one book that I always like to refresh myself on is to How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think that's what it's called. Yep, that's the book. And I do that and then every single year I kind of pull something out completely different that I would have the year before, because you've learnt and developed, you've grown, there's a different skill set that you've got. But I tend to find just one key takeaway from that book just every single year. And what it actually does is it really has allowed me to also develop as a leader around my own communication skills, my own approach in growing and developing a high performing sales team here at CoreLogic. And so for me, to all those listening, the first step is to start to invest in yourself and shift your mindset, because this industry has so many opportunities. Property management itself teaches you a lot. I think we're very resilient people that work within this field. and take that and run with it. And don't be afraid to take risks and jump into something new and exciting and give it a go. It's okay to fail, use those learnings and go, well, what else can I be doing here? Because it's a fantastic industry to be a part of. You've just got to want it within yourself.
Absolutely. That is amazing advice. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, how can our audience connect further with you or maybe book in a demo with the new all the features on RP Data and CoreLogic?
Yeah, so a couple of ways. Of course, we've got our fantastic quality training team as well, but a lot of the property management side of things I do. So the team or anyone listening today can contact me on email. So it's just kasey.mcdonald@corelogic.com.au. And if you connect with me via email, we can book in whether that's a virtual session, depending where you are within the state of Queensland. I'm absolutely also happy to come out to do face-to-face sessions specifically focused on property management and do that kind of growth stuff with the BDM. So and also some new exciting training opportunities like that are coming within the CoreLogic realm for next year as well. So look out for those that will be announced probably around February, March, of some great other tips like this that we'll be doing, short and sharp kind of podcasts that will be available for the industry as well.
Amazing. I'll look forward to that. I'll share everything in the show notes as well. Kasey, thank you so much for joining me. It's been great to connect with you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kylie. Have a fabulous Christmas and look forward to connecting in the new year.
Can I ask you a quick favour before you leave this episode? Now, we all know how important reviews are for businesses these days, and mine is no different. If you could spare just a minute to follow, rate and review this podcast, it would mean a lot to me. In fact, what would get me super excited is if you share this podcast with someone in the industry who you think might need to hear some of the episodes right now. And if you'd like to find out more about working with me or any of the products I have to help you start, grow or scale your property management business, head to my website, thatpropertymum.com.au, or check out the links in the show notes.